Welcome back. Transitions, as the name implies, are a way to move from one clip to the next on your timeline. Transitions can convey the passage of time, the conclusion of one scene and the beginning of a new scene, or any other type of change you want to convey in your movie from one clip to another. Keep in mind, transitions are not always necessary. In fact, most Hollywood films and TV commercials don't use a lot of transitions. Oftentimes, a simple hard cut from one clip to the next is sufficient. But let's see what we have at our disposal. Transitions are located in the Transitions bin at the top left. You can skim the transitions to get a preview. I use the first three most often because they're the most subtle. I use fade to black typically to open or close a movie, and cross dissolve or cross blur to transition between clips, especially when creating a photo montage, which we'll talk more about in another tutorial. Transitions can be added to the timeline similar to clips. Just drag and drop the transition where you want it to go. In this case, let's go ahead and add the fade to black at the beginning and the end of the timeline. And then add the cross dissolve transition between all clips except for the orange and purple flower clips. And just to mix it up a bit, we'll add the cross blur between the purple and orange clips. Now before we move on, the first purple flower clip is a little long for my liking, so let's trim the beginning to where the duration is around 3 or 4 seconds. Okay, now let's set the playhead back to the beginning and preview the first part of our movie. It's looking pretty good, but here's a couple of tips before we conclude. When you hover over a transition, its duration will display. Double-click to adjust the duration if needed. Notice you can apply the change in duration to just this one transition or to all transitions currently on the timeline. Let's click Apply to All. Keep in mind the duration you use is just a personal preference. Lastly, go to the iMovie menu and open iMovie Preferences. Notice there's a default transition time. If you find yourself continually changing your transition time to a specific duration, adjust it here and that will be the new default duration time. Okay, that's it for transitions. Remember, drag a transition to the beginning or end of a project or between two clips and adjust the timing if needed. Now that you know how transitions work, take some time to explore the different styles of transitions on your own. And pay special attention the next time you're watching a movie or TV show to how the creators use or don't use transitions. Next up, you'll learn all about backgrounds.